Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and the NFL is back. So excited to have the NFL back tonight when the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens will go up against each other. And, it's so great to have football back. The one thing I've always complained about with football is the offseason is way too long. Obviously, I don't want to see, a season with like the NBA or the MLB where, the NBA has 82 games, MLB has 162. I mean, it wouldn't even be possible for these guys to go that long. And I don't think, the NFL season should be longer, but it is so unfortunate that we only have at least the regular season from September to January. Yes, from the postseason, the Super Bowl, it's September through February. But after that Super Bowl ends, it's February, if you're going to include preseason, to August with no football. That is 6 months with no football. And if you don't include preseason, it's 7 months with no football. So it's way too long without any football, and so great to have it back. Speaking of the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs are the reigning champions, and we're going to see them in action tonight, revealing their banner, and it's going to be interesting. Usually the team, who is hosting after winning the Super Bowl has had, their way in matchups. Now, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl the year before, last year, it was a little bit different. The Detroit Lions came into Kansas City last year, got a big upset win, 21-0. Jared Goff did some great things. If you guys remember, Brian Branch from Alabama had that pick six, which it was more of a interception thrown by Kadarius Toney than it was Patrick Mahomes, as I believe that was the interception that went off Toney's helmet. And there was no Travis Kelce. He had the knee injury, and there was no Chris Jones as he was holding out the contract. So, look, yes, did they lose, but they were very short-handed without two of their three best players. So, and Mahomes, was throwing the ball to Kadarius Toney. So, but yeah, I think this year is a little bit different. The Chiefs have added in some new weapons for Mahomes, and we're gonna go over what those new weapons look like. And look, you look at Baltimore's side as well. I think there's a brand new weapon in the backfield that you got to be very excited about, and that's Derrick Henry. It's gonna be fun to watch, the run game between Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and we're gonna see how that works tonight. It's gonna be hard to do that against, a defensive line like the Kansas City Chiefs, and head runner being Chris Jones. But I'm excited to see what they go out there and do tonight. It's going to be interesting. So, yeah, I want to get into some injuries before I get into predictions and, thoughts on the two teams. Chiefs are without former Baltimore Raven Marquise Brown, more known as Hollywood Brown, dealing with a shoulder injury. Now, it does say expect to return week 2. We'll see if he comes back week 2. We'll see about that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is dealing with an illness. He's on the NFI list, and then Charles Omenihu is still recovering from a torn ACL. His expected return is week 5. So they're without a couple key players. You could arguably say their number one wide receiver, Marquise Brown. Also without they're also without Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the backup running back, and also without a very nice defensive end in Charles Omenihu. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs look tonight. But here's the one thing I have to say. This is a very important game for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson has struggled in his career against Patrick Mahomes. I believe he's like 1 for 3 or 1 for 4 against Patrick Mahomes. And we saw last year this Kansas City Chiefs team go into Baltimore and win in the AFC Championship game. And this is just my thoughts. I'm not going to be someone that says if the Ravens lose tonight, their season's over. Because if anybody ever says after week 1 someone's season is over, that is a little too far of a stretch. But here's what I will say. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored to be the number 1 seed. We'll see if that happens. Look, last year, I'm not going to lie, last year the Chiefs were favored to be the 1 seed. There were definitely some struggles on their end. I think they only went like 11-6 or 10-7, something like that. They finished as like the 3rd seed, and these Baltimore Ravens were the number one seed. But let's be honest, the Chiefs have improved since then. They've gotten rid of wide receivers who struggled like Kadarius Toney and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and they've added in guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown. So their offense has gotten better. And I think some guys, you look at like Travis Kelce, I think he's a little bit more healthy to start off this season than he was last year. Last year, he wasn't so healthy to start off the year dealing with that knee injury. So I think there's a great chance the Kansas City Chiefs take back that number one seed. And here's the way I see it. If the Chiefs are the number one seed, and if anybody's going to want to get past them, if they're the number one seed, just looking in the AFC, of course, if you're in the NFC, you play them in a neutral site in the Super Bowl if the Chiefs made it that far. But in the AFC, if the Chiefs are the one seed again, in the playoffs, anybody that wants to beat them has to go to Arrowhead and win a game at Arrowhead. That's if they're the one seed. But look, right now they are favored to be the one seed. So if the Ravens in a regular season matchup can't go win and get a game at Arrowhead, I don't see them doing that in the playoffs, which is a different environment. Now, look, there's no guarantee the Chiefs are the one seed. All we know, the Baltimore could be the one seed, and the Chiefs might have to go and play them for another road matchup in the playoffs. And as much as I like the Chiefs team this year, I think the Ravens would have a better chance this season going up against the Chiefs if they were, hosting a game in the playoffs like they were last year. I think if this Ravens team, Mark Andrews healthy, having Derrick Henry, adding him in, Zay Flowers maybe being more experienced as he made some mistakes in that game in year two, I would say that I think that the Ravens would have a better chance going up against this specific Chiefs team if they played a playoff game in Baltimore. But in Kansas City, if you can't win in Kansas City in the regular season, it's going to be a whole lot harder to win in the postseason. Not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot harder. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays tonight. Look, the Chiefs could win this game, and if they, if they do, and they win this game, for sure, if these teams were to meet later down the road in Arrowhead, whether it be the divisional round or the the AFC Championship game, I don't think these two teams would meet up in the first round, especially if the Chiefs are the one seed. But I don't see the Ravens being a lower seed to the point where they match up against the Chiefs in the first round. So, I'm not going to say that if the Ravens lose tonight, they are automatically gonna lose in a playoff game against Kansas City. But I don't like their chances if they were to go to a game in the playoffs against Kansas City in Kansas City at Arrowhead. So, but look, they could turn my opinion around if they can go out there and get a win tonight. But it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see Patrick Mahomes out there with his new wide receivers. He's got Xavier Worthy. I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, so definitely excited to see Xavier Worthy make his debut. They've added in Juju Smith-Schuster. We saw Juju Smith-Schuster have one of his best years in a while a couple years ago in 2022 when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. Last year was a bad year at New England. It's going to be interesting to see if he bounces back for Kansas City. They also got some another entertaining addition, adding in Marquise Brown, even though he won't be available tonight. Rashee Rice is going into his second year. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't do too good since I'm facing him in fantasy, and I have Travis Kelce, so I'm hoping the football goes to Travis Kelce a lot and not Rashee Rice. But I think he'll have a pretty solid year, but just not a good week one performance if I made the decisions. But they got other good wide receivers in the wide receiver room. You got Rice, you got Brown, and you got Worthy. Those are the three top guys. But then there's Juju Smith-Schuster. Justin Watson, a guy I really liked watching last year for Kansas City. Thought he was very underrated. And of course, the other guy who is more like a receiver he is another wide receiver, and that's Travis Kelce. the best tight end in football. And of course, he comes with some extra baggage, as Taylor Swift comes with, and she will be at the game tonight. I was watching the Today Show this morning, and they did say that or he was talking to they were talking to the Chiefs owner, and he said she was going to be at the game tonight. But I think a lot of people could have guessed that. And as much as I said I miss football, which I did, that is one thing I did not miss about football was, I like Taylor Swift. I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I like her music. As a male, I will tell you guys I like Taylor Swift's music. But do I want Taylor Swift's life to be imploded on football? No, I don't want to. When I'm watching football, I don't want to see Taylor Swift. It's no hate on Taylor. I like Taylor's music. I think she's a good person, but I do not want that to be interrupted with football. So that is one thing I did not miss, and I am guessing we'll see her quite a bit tonight, as NBC will just show her a bunch. But that is one thing I did not miss again. So want to finish this off with predictions. As I've talked so much about it being so hard to win a game in Arrowhead, I just don't see the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that has won back-to-back Super Bowls, losing back-to-back opening games. I think this is a close, competitive game right down to the end, and I don't see it any other way. Even if Baltimore were to win this game, whoever wins, if it's Baltimore or it's Kansas City, I think this is coming down to the end of it, and it's going to be exciting. I'm so glad that football is back. Can't wait for this game tonight. But I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. But if they win, I see it being a one-score game, and I see the same thing for Baltimore. Let me know your thoughts on the NFL being back in the game tonight, and peace out.